All right, so thank you everyone for attending our fall 2017 community call. I want to thank you for taking the time to attend our meeting. And so I just want to thank everyone. We've been pretty busy here with the various things, and it's nice to be able to update everyone on what is going on, and also hopefully to get feedback too from everyone. So I'm going to start the presentation. So the first slide, for those who are following on from the slide that they were able to download, I'm switching to the second slide, which is labeled communication. So since our last community call, I believe in May, we have expanded our newsletter a little bit. We've added some different things. We added an HCU hero each month, and I've had Kristen, I've had the Sullivan 2 children, and so there was another one in there, and I'm just having trouble remembering right offhand. We have also added HCU and You. It's a segment of some various things, actually. So we have like an advice column called Ask Mathia, which is different advice relating to the low-protein diet or just diet in general related to homocystinuria. We've also been collaborating with Ben Goodlett, which is a fellow at Boston Children's who is working with Susan Weissman in the psychology department there, and he is writing some advice columns for the different behavioral aspects that relate to homocystinuria. And I think everyone is very welcome to those. And the last thing we've added to the newsletter itself is recipes. And I'm hoping to work with the community to gather some tried and true recipes that everyone really likes. I don't like to share things that we haven't actually tried because they don't always turn out the way they're written. So the next big thing for the newsletter is that we have reformatted it. So you can actually download it now. It reads more like a regular newsletter. This will make it a lot easier for us to add full columns in the future here. And we have some other things that we are adding. We've also rebranded it to be called the HCU Herald, more just like a real newsletter. And we'll be in the future here adding some patient interest stories. What I mean by that is we'll be adding things that relate to, I think Kristen is going to be writing about her experience either with travel or with sports, and since she was a marathon runner. So I think it's nice to hear about experiences the patients have had. So our next slide is labeled website additions. There hasn't been a whole lot that has been added to the website. Some things have just changed around a little bit on the homepage, but there hasn't been a whole lot that was added. The main thing that we've added to the website, though, was the HCU infograph. And this was shared on Facebook, but I just want to make sure people are aware of this resource. The pictures on the slide are only a small fragment of what is on the infograph. The infograph can be located on our website if you go to hcunetworkamerica.org and then click on the What is HCU section. It's under the classical HCU section and then infograph. And that is currently up there and available. You can download it. I will let you know if you do choose to print it, it's not going to print very well to a regular piece of paper because it is so long. So if you would like to print it, I can give you the dimensions. Just know that it is a costly thing to print if you are interested in that, though. This next slide is labeled Clinic Contact, and that what we've been working on with Clinic Contact is some more collaboration with the community in a program that we've developed called Helping Hands for HCU. This is where patients introduce us to their doctors, and hopefully we form a strong collaborative partnership for us, doctors and patients, we've had pretty good success, and we're hoping to connect with more clinics this way. Another part of our clinic contact is that we are working on sending out clinic packets, and what we're going to include in these is an introductory clinic letter just to introduce the organization to the clinic. It has a postcard questionnaire which they can fill out and send back in, or they can fill out online. We also will be including our HCU Network America brochures. And then for the patients, we have some, well, the brochures will be for the patients, but in addition to that, we have some patient introduction letters. These are letters that introduce our organization to the patients, and they also include a save the date and agenda as well. And one of our big projects that we're undertaking here, and this will be going on for quite a while, is newborn screening. In our previous community call, we talked about how we weren't very happy with the current newborn screening program. We believe that it has a lot of room for improvement. We're happy to be on the newborn screening panel, but we can do much better. So within the next year, we will be hiring a consultant to help us with our newborn screening initiatives. Hopefully we'll have someone hired by early 2018. Right now we are doing research on individuals that would meet this, and then we will be conducting interviews here shortly. The next thing tied into this, our ultimate goal is to have more efficient, thorough screening that catches a higher number of patients, because currently our newborn screening catches only about 50% of patients. So, and this is mainly due to the fact that for patients that have more effective enzymes, their levels have not elevated enough to be flagged by the newborn screening. So, and then last part of the newborn screening, which is not necessarily newborn screening itself, but at the same time, we are hoping to advocate for ongoing tests with that are tied into various wellness checks that children already have. So those, initially, it's more than once a year when a child is born. So if we can incorporate a homocysteine test into those various pre-existing blood draws that children already are subjected to, that is our goal. We will also be hoping to collaborate with different national pediatric organizations for this process. And we hope to also reach out and do more education with ophthalmologists, dietitians, and different people that are regularly diagnosing patients. I'm going to go to the next slide, which is labeled Research and News. So in the news lately, within the past 3 months, Tess Corbin of Montana State University won the Ford Foundation Dissertation Fellowship. Back in 2011, when there was the homocystinuria conference in Denver, Colorado, some of us had the opportunity to meet Tess. And at that time, I don't think she was in school for this, so she's definitely a big advocate. She may not be strong on social media, but she's definitely working to help move our community along. And so she hopes to have some research that regards finding the cure in terms of stem cells. So,
can I just add, doesn't she have a son with HCU?
Yes. So that's who when she came to the patient meeting in 2011. That's who she was with, and that's who she's doing this really in honor of. So it's really it's exciting to see patients getting involved in the research and helping drive it. We haven't.
Yeah, and I remember her saying during that meeting that she wanted to go back to school. I'm not sure if she was getting a master's or a PhD, but she was asking Dr. Krause when he was presenting about, you know, working in a lab. And so since 2011, she's come a long way.
Yeah, so a lot of it starts with the patients, and we have to keep inspiring others to join the research community here so we can drive a cure that much faster. Our next bullet point, which was exciting, Margie, who just spoke, our president, was awarded the PM360 Trailblazer Lifetime Achievement Award. If no one here has actually Googled Margie, Margie has a really long list of accomplishments, which I won't go into, but you have like one of the most impressive resumes, and when I tell people about your background, they are amazed, and we are so honored to have you as our president and help drive us towards success. It's pretty amazing.
As my mother would say, it's only me, and that's how I feel. So we all have talents that we apply in different ways, but thank you for your kind words.
Great.
And then the last thing was there was a press release from Vertex Pharma. They are partnering, I believe, and Margie, you can correct me on this, with the Fox Chase Institute with, I think it's Warren Kruger, and they released some preclinical data for a therapy. And maybe, Margie, would you be able to elaborate a little bit more, just because I have a feeling that they touched on this in Rio, which will be one of our slides, but
yes.
Oh, are you there? Uh-oh.
I think it'll be a lot safer to have the cell exerting its effect. And they realized that they might be able to do the same thing, taking the enzyme that metabolizes methionine and putting it inside red blood cell. And the benefit of doing that is it gives them much longer duration, so you don't have to keep giving the medication, which could even be multiple times a day. And so they wanted to test the concept in mice, which is what you always have to do before you can put anything in humans, to have both efficacy to show it works in animal models as well as safety. And so Warren Kruger at Fox Chase, who's done a lot of research in homocystinuria, has a mouse model, and you can actually see his mice. I've visited him because it's not far from where I live, and I could pick out which mice had homocystinuria versus which ones did not, just by the color difference, and in some cases the kind of exercise, running around the normal mice, whereas some of the older homocystinuria mice had like osteoporosis and run around. But anyway, he to do this, and they tested their product in his mouse model, and it worked really well on homocysteine levels. So he's still going to be doing more testing. They would expect that this would be
It's really exciting to see that. Margie, I think we lost.
Yep.
Oh, there.
Okay, I'm
sorry.
here.
You were fading in and out there for a second. So.
Sorry, I'm on a train. Let me know if you can't hear me. I'm trying not to talk too loud. There's a lot of people around.
That's okay.
Yeah, I've got one slide on the IC. Sorry for the background noise. We're making a stop.
Okay.
But the IEM meeting, which stands for the International Congress on Inherited Errors of Metabolism, which you have on the slide. This is a meeting held every 4 years with all the experts globally who either do research or do patient care for metabolic disorders, of which homocystinuria is one. And so this was a 4-day Congress, but we preceded it with a 1-day patient expert forum on homocystinuria that was organized primarily by Tara Morrison from HCU Network Australia. I helped her a little bit, and Hank Blum, who is from Europe and chairs the EHOD group, which has the patient registry, was involved, and another woman named Eva, who's a metabolic clinician in Brazil. And we had many participants. There were well over 150, and I think even more came if you add in the science stream that took place in the afternoon. But we had over 40 patients or family members from Brazil who participated, along with their patient advocacy head, Simone from Brazil. And there were many different presentations on the treatment guidelines, dietary management, quality of life, and how that needs to be better studied for homocystinuria, mental health issues and how to manage them, and new treatments in development. And I gave that presentation based upon completing a project on the research map that I've talked about before. And we're going to be posting my slides on our website. All of the slides will be posted on HCU Network Australia's website, and we can let you know when that happens. But I'll be posting the research map, and it really requires, I think, a lot of explanation, but it should be encouraging to you to just take a glance at that. And then hopefully you'll be at our meeting in April, and you'll hear a full presentation and explanation on, there's really 5 different approaches that is in research or development to better manage homocystinuria. And so the overall conclusion of the conference, it was a very upbeat conference, and we heard a lot about the history of homocystinuria from Bridget Wilkins in Australia. But the overall conclusion at the end is that we have made a lot of progress since the early 60s in terms of how best to manage homocystinuria. But both early diagnosis and aggressive dietary management are critical, but that these new therapies in development will hopefully alleviate dietary restrictions over time. So, they're not around the corner. They still have to go through human testing, but I think we're all very encouraged to see how much progress has been made.
Mm-hmm.
So that was it.
All right, wonderful. It was really exciting to hear the various feedback from the patients and the things that were shared on Facebook. So I'm really glad that Brazil was able to organize that, and you were able to be a part of that and got to hear some feedback. For time's sake, I'm going to move on to the next slide. We're trying to condense our community call to a shorter time frame so everyone can move on with their evenings here. Just some things to come. Next month is our Go Blue for HCU Awareness Month. So next month we will be launching a 31 days of HCU awareness. There's going to be different social media activities that you can take part in. Some of them are as simple as changing your picture on Facebook or your cover photo to promote awareness for HCU. On the slide, I have the HCU awareness ribbon that was developed, and there is the Go Blue for HCU picture that is also on our Facebook page that you can put as the background cover photo as well. And that will be some of the things. Some of them are going to be a little bit more fun and engaging, I think. One of them will be like a haiku for HCU. Just different ways to bring awareness to the community. There are some fundraisers that will be taking place. I believe Sarah is going to run an online fundraiser in honor of her 2 kids, and she's just going to kind of, from my understanding, give an update about her kids and their story and have a link to our website. So there's different ways people can go about this at different levels. I have a friend who works for 31 and is donating all her commission to HCU Network America, so that will be going on. And then another patient, Amber Gibson in Indiana, she's doing a per order bake sale. So it's not a bake sale where you set up, rather you put in your request and she'll bake them specifically for you. And she's a phenomenal baker and cook. Her daughter is so lucky to have someone like her as a mom. It's pretty amazing, the things she comes up with. And it's high and low protein food. So if you know anyone in the Indiana area, specifically around Indianapolis, that would like to participate, there will be a flyer going out for that as well. It just has not been completed. And if anyone else has fundraisers, please forward them to me and I will share them with the community. Oh, one last thing that did not make it on the slide. We are going to be also letting people know how to create a Facebook fundraiser. So you can set your goal for your personal fundraiser, and you can donate the proceeds of it to HCU Network America. for HCU Awareness Month if you don't want to do something more vigorous. So if you are looking for an easier platform, Facebook has a very easier fundraiser tool, which I will be sending out the guide on how to do that within our next newsletter. So that will be in there come October 1st. Next thing is our 2018 conference, which is another slide. Our registration will open in October, so please keep checking back to the website. Our goal is to have it up at the very latest by October 15th, but it might come before then, so keep looking. We have so far released a save the date in the agenda. Once the registration is open, the website will also have the speakers, who they are. Well, we already know who they are, but a little, their bio, a synopsis of what they're covering. You also will find out about the hotel accommodations. There is a discount for those who book with the hotel in advance. It also will have a description on the kids program. All the details will not be up there yet, just because we need to get an idea of who will be taking part. And obviously the registration. There will be some other things in there as well to look forward to.
Can I just ask a question, Danae? Would you say is the closest airport to come in if we were interested in going to that conference, would it be Logan in Boston, or is there a closer one somewhere? Or?
You know what? There is another one, and I will have, there's a direction section that I'm working on for the conference. And under the direction section, I will have both airports, because there's one that's a little bit more closer. It's further north, and it's more of a regional airport. But I was looking at it, and it's more than just a regional airport, because there's flights from, like, Chicago to this other airport. I just can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. It was kind of exciting, because I wasn't even aware there was another airport. And I would much rather go in through a smaller airport than a giant international one if I had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I lost where I was in my slides because I was flipping screens for some reason to figure something out. Okay, and the last slide is questions. But actually, what I want to, before we get to questions, is more if there's any feedback that you guys have in regards to our organization, things you would like to see, things that you think we could do better, you're welcome to voice them here now, or I would like you to email me, just because one way or another, we need to hear back from the community and how we are doing in terms of those things. What can we do better? What would you like to see? And just, it's about you guys too. It's not just about us and our mission and what our goals are. This organization exists for the patients and their family. So we need your insight to really get things moving here in a direction that really has everyone in mind and on board. So does anyone have feedback they would like to offer right offhand, or I'm very open. It's not going to be upsetting if someone does have something negative, or constructive, I should say. Okay. Well, if anyone does have something they would like to share and they would rather address it personally, the last slide has our email address, and I read all of those and I respond to them as well. So if you have anything, questions, concerns.
Danae, I think someone was just trying to say something. Was there someone that had an idea or a comment? Can you give Danae any feedback on anything you think she's doing well?
I think you're doing a great job.
You know, I do get a lot of messages from patients, and Pam is one of them. She sends me she's a good cheerleader for me, so I really appreciate it. And there's a couple other patients. My husband gave me this idea. He's like, at work, he has what they call an accolades folder, and they just great comments that people have shared with you about yourself. And so there's been some really wonderful ones. A couple have come from patients who were having trouble finding clinics, and I'm so glad we have that clinic feature. And actually, one of our patients was able to help the other patients. They were able to help me find the clinic, and then I was able to connect them together because it ended up being the same clinic. So we were able to introduce 2 homocystinuria patients that live in the same community, and it's been so exciting to see patients connect that didn't even know each other existed. So it's exciting.
Can I ask the group if they have any input on what we could do to get more patients or family members to participate in these calls? Does anyone have any ideas?
I don't really have any ideas, but I would like to see more people involved in that too. I think, it's such a good organization, and everybody's doing all you people who are the big wigs in the organization are doing such a good job that, I really would like to see people get more involved in it myself.
I will let you know, I was contemplating this on my drive home, actually, as I was sitting in traffic. One of the things that I'm going to do is I am going to send out a survey via Facebook, a little poll to find out what times would be the best. Because we made the assumption evenings would, because then people are home from work. But maybe there's a different time that would work better, a different day of the week that's just better for everyone. So I will be sending, within the next week probably here, I'll probably share our webinar and then make the poll to see what is the best time and day of the week for people. Because maybe we're just not hitting the right time or the day, because we've done them in the evening, and maybe there's just a better way to go about this. So that will be something that we'll be sending out to the community too, as well. So, all right. Well, I don't want to take too much more time from you guys, so that is all I have. So if you do have any questions, concerns, ideas, please feel free. Reach out by email, Facebook. If you are a Twitter person, you can definitely tweet at us, but I don't know how much you'll be able to get into there because it's limited. So please feel free and reach out, and I'm glad to hear everyone's thoughts and opinions. So again, thank you very much for calling in. We appreciate you taking the time, and we will be hopefully hearing from everyone and having another call here by the end of the year. All right.